Live from America's heartland, this is the Daily Truth Report with your host, Noah Christopher.
There's no stopping the collapse of the world reserve currency. There is no stopping the fall of the US dollar. You can't stop it. Most people don't even know this is happening or going to happen because it's going to take only 24 hours, but it's going to happen. It's an impossibility to say it's not going to happen or it won't happen or we can stop it. So all you can do is be on the right side and prepare for what's about to happen. Woe to now ye rich men, weep and howl for the miseries that are about to come upon you.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Daily Truth Report, and it's great to have you here, and it's really great to have our guest back with us again, Bo POLNY. Bo, welcome back.
Noah, thank you. Look forward to speaking with you. Much to discuss, as always.
Oh, yes. So let me set the stage, and then we're going to turn it over to you. But I always like to say what date and time we're talking here. So this is Monday, February 26th. And Bo, I think we've picked another tremendous time to talk because last time we talked a lot of football. We'll probably not be talking a lot of football this time. So I hope you enjoyed it last time. That was our football chat for the year. But today we're talking some really.
Oh, actually, let me pause you a second. And then you continue. What are you gonna like this? I did an interview with Janie yesterday, and we talked about football. So just a little side note on that. So we got the Federal Reserve. The bankers, the money. Because what are we waiting for? The wealth transfer, right? We're waiting for God to intervene upon the world, and we're waiting for the fall of the U.S. dollar as a world reserve currency. Why? Because they've used that money system to control and enslave humanity. Okay, so we've talked about that in all of our podcasts. Now, the side note to the football game is because we talked about the Bob Jones prophecy and how awesome, how incredibly biblical. There's so many key number 3 events that happen in a football game. But the one thing we all missed, what Janie brought up, because God revealed that to her, is he talked about Tin Man, Straw Man.
The Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Guess
where
Dorothy was from?
Something Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas.
Yeah.
See, so Kansas City Chiefs were waiting for the fall of the financial system. What did Dorothy and Toto reveal?
Yeah, right. They pulled back the curtain.
That's right.
Well, that is very good. Well, yeah, you're right. We did have all of that with football, and we had the Chiefs pull it out. And if anyone wants to hear all that, if you're listening to this and you have no idea what we're talking about, go back and listen to our last show because it's all in there. And pretty amazing prophecy from decades ago from Bob Jones. So a lot of crazy stuff in that one. It was a lot of fun. But today we are loaded up on crypto stuff. We have financial markets. Like Bo said, we are waiting for the fall of this system. And we've got a lot of updates. I want to talk about, Bo, I've got a lot of things on my list. Just this morning, talk about the big bankers. Jacob Rothschild is now dead. That happened this morning. We've got a big eclipse coming up. I've got a lot of people that have emailed me asking about that. We covered it the other day. Maybe we'll get into this a little bit today. Strangely enough, the eclipse crosses over 8 cities, all named Nineveh in the U.S. and Canada. Extremely strange. I had no idea we had 8 cities named Nineveh, but the path of the eclipse touches all of them. Very strange. We've got Purim coming up. We've got the 322 date that Skull and Bones, and they always like to use that date. We've got a blood moon coming up. So much to talk about. I know you've got slides on all of this. Really excited to hear your thoughts on that. We've got a big update on XRP and crypto. We'll get to that in just a minute. I'm looking at the crypto markets right now, and I always like to say, just for historical purposes, looking back on these interviews, we've got Bitcoin kind of going crazy this morning. Just when Bo said it would too, by the way, if you're a subscriber, you've seen his reports. We'll talk about that in a minute, but Bitcoin is over 53,000. It's suddenly shot up about $2,000 just this morning, and it's the whole crypto market is moving. The all-time high for Bitcoin is only 69,000, and then after that, a lot of people think we're going to hit 100,000. So I want to get Bo's thoughts on that. So we have so much to talk about. Those are the short notes on my list, Bo, but let me turn it over to you. Let me get your slides up. And why don't you just take us away? What are we looking at today?
Since you brought up Bitcoin, let's kind of work our way backwards. Head over all the way to the bottom of our slide deck, page 71, and just to kind of illustrate to people how nothing in our world is random. events in our world are not political, they're biblical. God does nothing before first speaking through his servants, the prophets. Ecclesiastes, that which has been will be again. I'm just giving people some scriptures to understand, but particularly the Ecclesiastes, that which has been will be again. Please understand this. This is an example of what's written in Ecclesiastes. That which has been will be again. Okay, so what is that saying? Look at this cycle chart. I just want viewers to understand what you, Noah, and myself, and all of our private subscribers watch. This is wild, but there's been zero fear for myself, for yourself, for any of our subscribers for the past months. This is our cycle work for the past 5 months. I'm showing the viewer who's watching this, I'm showing you how history repeats. Not kind of, but incredibly accurately sometimes. And so just look at this chart pattern. You've got in the red there, and also the very top. So the very top, it says historic cycle. In other words, God shows me where to look. And so I pull cycles from history years ago, and then I simply line up the day counts with present day. So the bottom one is present day, 2023, all the way to now February. And so this is actually from our February 22nd latest update. I blocked off the last part of it just because I can't reveal everything. But I want viewers to understand that nothing in our world is random. So people that tell you, there's people out there, that the future is random. We're not sure what's going to happen in the future. We have control over the future. No, you don't. God wrote the end from the beginning. The Daniel prophecy is 2,500 years old. It's unmissed. In other words, Babylon, Persia, Greece, the papacy, United States, every part of a Daniel prophecy has been fulfilled, except the last piece of it. And while we were watching a stone carved out by no human hand, which means we're going to watch, God's going to intervene upon the world, take down Mystery Babylon, as the kings of the earth will weep and wail. That's what's coming. I don't care what anybody says. There's no randomness to the world. The only thing that we have control over is what side of the fence we're sitting on when Christ returns, or do we get taken up? My point is, you have no control. You can only prepare for what's coming. That's what I want people to understand. There's no way you can stop what's coming. It's coming. But there's no fear in it, because if you know the Lord, he's the way maker, he's the miracle worker, he's the promise keeper, he's a light in the darkness. And so God's making a way for his bride, those who love him. But what's coming up is it's a double-edged sword. It's the worst time in human history is about to start. Mm-hmm. In the best time in human history that we're about to watch. Get it? When God intervenes, it's both. It's judgment and vindication at the same time. So we're going to watch things go down. They're going to be horrific for those who are asleep. Many are going to lose their bank accounts, lose all their money. This is going to be horrific for many people because they have been asleep and they refuse to wake up, and they just don't want to be a part of what you and I talk about, what you post on your incredible website. The stuff you post on your website is awesome. You're like my one news source, Noah. There's nothing to watch. So I go check here. Anyway, what's Noah saying? Because the stuff you put is actually, truths that you're not going to see in mainstream media. What I want, we're looking at this chart pattern. Look at it. Page number 3, 4, 5 in red on the left side there. And then look below. It's to the exact day, exact pattern. Mm-hmm. We watched this happen. And then what do we say? We're going to watch Bitcoin go up. It's going to go up into November, about the 28th. It did it. It's going to drop for 2 days. It did it. And then to November 30th, it rallied all the way up. It's going to top out around the 10th of January. It did it. Watch Bitcoin drop. It's going to fall down to about into January 23rd. 0.4. It did it. And then I said, watch Bitcoin turn up. It's going to turn up. And then I said, what? Watch since December. Watch since December of last year, the reports have said, watch the last week of what?
Yep, last week of February. And that's why I started this off. I'm looking at the crypto charts this morning, and everything is just booming. So I was so excited to have you on this morning. It's just perfect timing, just like you've been saying.
And that's the thing. If you understand that God's in charge, God wrote the end from the beginning. There's nothing random. There's nothing new under the sun. God's the beginning, and God is Jesus Christ is the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end. If we understand that, there's no fear. Okay, and Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy, while Jesus comes to bring life more abundantly. So why do people say, Bo, you're always in a good mood? What? Because I know that God's in charge. I know that should I turn on the news channel, I'm going to have nothing but fear porn.
Mm-hmm.
So I choose not to do that. And so everything in life is a choice. And, why do I like checking your news feed out? Because you're bringing the truth of what's out there, and most of it's good news, and whatever's the bad news, you kind of make light of it because we know the truth of how this is all playing out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so what I want people to understand is there's no stopping the collapse of the world reserve currency. There is no stopping the fall of the US dollar. You can't stop it. Most people don't even know this is happening or going to happen because it's going to take only 24 hours, but it's going to happen. It's an impossibility to say it's not going to happen or it won't happen or we can stop it. So all you can do is be on the right side and prepare for what's about to happen. Well, what have we been saying in our podcast, Noah? How do you prepare? Well, first off, food and water, that's important just in case, things go down. We'll talk about darkness is about to hit, okay, because it's going to get dark. You want to, beyond anything, you want to know that Jesus Christ is God the Father, Holy Spirit are in control. The Trinity are in control. Why? Because if you know that, there's nothing to fear.
Mm-hmm.
When the things get dark and ugly and scary, temporarily, or dark and ugly, okay, the darkness is necessary because without the darkness, guess what? You're not going to get the light. You see, you have to have an extreme. You have to get that midnight hour where the darkest it possibly can get, and then suddenly you get the light.
Mm-hmm.
It starts to shine, and so we're waiting for that time point in our world. So we can't stop what's coming. You can prepare for it with God's money. Haggai 2:8, the silver and the gold are mine, saith the Lord. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just saying. The financial system is an absolute, complete, and utter fraud. They create money out of thin air. We'll talk about Kissinger and Nixon in a few minutes. So the money's a total fraud. They create it out of thin air. They stick it in the stock market. Everybody's rah, rah, joy, joy. I'm worth X amount of digits. Because that's all if you look at your bank account, you're not worth the money. You're worth digits. Because try to take the money out, they'll shut your bank account down. Okay, so you just have digits in your bank account. If they mail you a monthly statement, they're just sending you a piece of paper with digits on it. They're not sending you money. They're sending you a piece of paper with digits on it. So the financial system's a fraud. And the only truth is this. Haggai 2:8, the silver and the gold are mine, saith the Lord. That's God's money. The other thing that's going to be necessary when the US dollar falls is all these bankers are pulling out right now. Amazon sold, I think he was like $6 or $7 billion.
Well, they all are.
Unloading. Yeah, they're all unloading right now. Why? You have to understand, right? They're unloading the stock from the stock market because they know something's coming.
Yeah.
Imagine this being okay, so you unload, and now you dump your stocks. Now you've got a huge bank account. Well, number one is when you have a huge bank account full of all kinds of digits, it's going to be very stressful for you. Why? Because ultimately the thing's a fraud. And so if they've dumped the market, they got a huge bank account in cash. The next question is what are they going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to do with it? They're not going to let it sit there.
Right.
They're going to buy something. Now, if they find out the U.S. dollar is about to get hammered, destroyed, attacked by the BRICS, because you Google that information, guess what? The globalists are going to throw all their money at.
I'd probably buy gold and silver if I was them.
And crypto,
right?
So why is Bitcoin beginning to move? Because the billionaires have a lot of money sitting in their accounts. So you just got to put pieces together.
Yeah, it was, Bo. It was just this morning, news breaking that the Walton family, the Walmart, all the heirs, that they're selling billions of dollars of their shares in Walmart. That has not happened to this degree. You mentioned Amazon Bezos. He's been selling a lot. And then you also have Jamie Dimon, the head of JP Morgan Chase. I think the story is he has never sold a single share of stock in his entire time running that company, which is I think it's 19 years. And then all of a sudden now he's selling a ton. So there it is right there. I want
to say one thing for the record. These people do not have a secret handshake. They don't have secret information. They're no better than any one of us. They will not share anything. Everything they know, they share with the public. They are fully transparent. And if you believe that...
I was waiting to see where that was going to end.
Think about it, right? All they do, these people love money. And that's the root of all evil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very true. Well, okay, so gold, silver, crypto. I've got this on the screen here, Bo. I know we always want to be respectful to the people that do subscribe to your newsletter. People can get that if they want, but What can you tell us? I know you've been saying watch the end of February. What are we in for in the next week or 2 weeks in terms of crypto? What can you tell us?
You got to put kind of two things together, right? Because if you go to our past podcast, 2 or 3 podcasts, since January, we've been saying that January, February into the month of March. And why was March important? Okay, because these are we're running a Roman calendar. Because these are back to Rome. We're still under Roman law. This all the way goes back to Rome. The Latin word for dies is 10, December. Then January is the 11th month. February, which we're in right now, is the 12th month. We're not even in 2024 yet, based on the Roman calendar. The most simple understanding of that concept, which is going to be like, the light bulb goes on, is think about this, right? If you made the calendar, Noah, if you were the creator of the calendar and the year has 364.25 days, so it takes 4 years to roll through to create an extra day. Mm-hmm. That's how the calendar works, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you're the creator of the calendar, when would you take that last day to stick it in?
Yeah, the last day of the year.
Right. So what's the last day of the year? It's not December. They don't stick the leap year into December. They put the leap year into February.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, you always wonder why it was in February.
Right. I never put the pieces together, and until the light bulb went off, I'm like, that is so simple to understand, because if you're going to add the extra day every 4 years, you would put it in at the last day of the year. February. So this year is February, a leap year. So we don't have 28 days in February. This year we've got 29 because this year is a leap year. They are adding the last day, the extra day that's been cumulatively adding for the past 4 years. The leap day is this year, the 29th, which is this coming week, the Thursday. Mm-hmm. So I'm just telling you, Friday begins. There's 3 possibilities for the new year. Their Roman calendar says it's this Friday, the 1st. The Julian calendar says it's the 14th of March. And there's a double dating calendar, which says it's like the 24th or 25th of March. So there's just 3 time points where we could potentially see the ultimate start of the new year, 2024. But based on their calendar, I'm just telling you, they're the ones, God's going to let them think they won. So I would very high probability something could begin on or about this Friday. And March is their Mars, the planet, the red planet Mars. They use this stuff, this astrology stuff, and Mars is the god of war. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about over and over again, if you anybody who brings on an attack or tries to sell oil and other currencies or tax the U.S. dollar is an act of war. We talked about Saddam Hussein. We talked about Gaddafi. Right now, you got the BRICS nation, 70%, roughly, maybe 60, 70% of the world population is now had enough of these globalists creating money out of thin air and then throwing around their weight to tell people and nations what to do. And so now the BRICS have come together as one to challenge the supremacy of the U.S. dollar. And, Putin was literally talking about that just a couple weeks ago with Tucker. So all of this is at a critical time point. 2023 is coming to an end. We're going to see how all of this plays out in the month of March. But I'm going to start with this is the next 90 days, March, April, and May are going to be wild. Okay. Wild. And for the world, because God is not going to be mocked. But in addition, God's going to make them think they won. So it's going to get first dark, scary, highly concerning, and ugly. When the dollar loses the status of the world reserve currency, the cycle charts are showing that Bitcoin is going to have a very powerful move. Okay, I'm telling you, you can't stop what's coming. Those who have, who own precious metals are in a good position because God's going to flip the financial scales. When that happens, the world is going to stop using the U.S. dollar for transactions, meaning that if you want to buy something in a different country, they won't accept the dollar. You won't be able to send a wire or a check. They're not going to accept it as payment because it lost the status of the world reserve currency. This is going to be historically horrible for the United States. Horrible. And because of that, the world is going to need to transact. So people of the United States are going to start sending cryptocurrencies at a distance. I've always said that cryptocurrencies will be used at distance. Gold and silver will be stores of wealth and value, but cryptocurrencies, the good ones, will be used for transactions at distance. So you'll be able to buy things in other states, other countries, and they will be accepting it as payment. A friend of mine, Andrew Sorcini of Beverly Hills Precious Metals, just went to Dubai a little while ago, and their order was in terms of he wanted to buy something a little expensive there, and they said they will accept a gold as payment. And they would, and the second alternate to that was they would accept Bitcoin as payment. But the last thing was they really didn't want the U.S. dollar. This is what was going on already a couple months ago. So, but when this event goes down, the nations are going to basically reject the U.S. dollar as payment, and so you will need to learn how to transact and how to use your phone and how to make transactions using the blockchain. And so, you and I are already a part of it, understand that, but a lot of people don't understand what blockchain is and how to use that. But whether you like it or not, you're going to need to learn how to use that. And then secondly, Bitcoin and many of the alternate coins that we have in our newsletter are going to explode powerfully vertical in price. Why? Because the dollar is no longer the world reserve currency. So it's like it's nothing. It's like, oh, Bitcoin's a fraud. They use it for child trafficking. It's like it's just such noise all the time, but yet it's over $50,000 today, right? And it's been playing out the cycle perfectly. It bottomed at 14,000. It's up over 200% since its 14,000 low, which we called on this show and on our podcast as well. So everything's playing out perfectly. What we're waiting for is the powerful move to the upside where it blows, but it's because of a worldwide, particularly attack on the U.S. dollar, and it loses its supremacy as a world reserve currency. And then people are going to be scrambling, saying, how do I get involved in cryptocurrencies? Bitcoin's, super expensive. Are there other coins that I can buy that are less expensive? And so we have many really, we cover 10 or a dozen coins in our newsletter, but we cover, coins that are not like 50, you don't need to spend 50,000 plus for one Bitcoin when there's other coins that are far less expensive and are actually ultimately going to outperform the performance of Bitcoin that's about to happen. So I just want to answer all people's questions that might have about cryptocurrencies and why you really need to understand, that it's going to happen whether you like it or not, whether you think you need it or not, it's coming.
Yeah, great. I heard a lot of good things in there. One thing you said, Bo, is people are going to need to learn how to transact in cryptocurrency, and that's different from, I just want to get in early and maybe ride the way up. You're saying this is going to become a way that we do business. So I put on the screen. You've had this out for a while now, but I think it's so important for people right now. If you don't really know how to do this stuff, if it's intimidating to you, if you're scared about it, or if you like what you're hearing and you want to get into crypto, but you don't know how. Bo set up this easycryptoschool.com. And I always love talking about this because I always get so much good feedback on it. People really enjoy being able to get in there. It's a school. It'll take you module by module from step one to the finish line, teach you how to do it safely, how to do it the right way, what websites and what companies and what exchanges are safe, what is a wallet, how do you set up a wallet, how do you not lose money by sending it to the wrong place. So all of that stuff is in there. You just go to easycryptoschool.com, and then Bo always gives people a discount if they're listening to this show. There's going to be a code for a spot for putting a code there, and it's going to give you a 50% discount. You just type in WLT49. That's the code. So people can grab that. And then the other thing I heard, Bo, was going back up to your newsletter. You've got all of these cryptocurrencies here on the screen. You cover those. You cover some other ones too. It's not just those, but you've got those covered. And you're right. Bitcoin, I'm looking at it right now, $53,400. Now you can buy partial Bitcoins, but the percentage that a return that it can go up is probably gets smaller and smaller as it gets more expensive. But you've got a lot of other ones there in the report. I love following those. I've purchased some of those myself. So full disclosure that I've got some of those. And one of the ones that I have, I kind of mentioned this early on, I'd love to get your update here, is XRP. I love talking about XRP. I'm in the XRP army, but I love bringing that up every once in a while because that is, it's my top coin personally. And the reason I did that is early on, everyone kept saying, oh, XRP is the banker's coin. It's the banker's coin. And I've just kind of realized in life, usually the bankers win, and especially these central bankers, they print the money out of thin air, and then they control the whole system. So I thought, you don't really win fighting these guys. You might as well ride along with it, and then at least make some money on the way up, so that then you can have some money to fight back and do some good in the world. So that was kind of my thesis. But then I know you have a little update on that. Do you want to share any of your thoughts on XRP?
I got involved in XRP when it had like 3 or 4 zeros in front of it. So now there's so many people excited about XRP. I'm like really? I got involved. I was buying this when it had like 4 zeros in front of it. Now it's like, 30 or 50 cents, whatever it is now. It's okay. But what I want to say is about this coin. It's been around for a long time before there was ever an XRP army. I was probably one of the first people. You actually have to go to Bank of America. The maximum you could spend was $300, but there's like there's 4 zeros in front of it. So you get a massive amount of them. The point I'm trying to make about XRP is just know that you got to always do a deep dive into these people. So God's going to intervene upon the world, and he's going to take down who? The bankers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as much as you might be correct that, you want to be on the right side with the bankers, but God's about to strike them and take them down. He's going to take down their money system, the US dollar. And so I do believe, my best guess, XRP is going to have a very powerful move, because whether they like it or not, they've been trying to hold XRP down, including all other coins. Okay. This is not like just because what I've always said on your podcasts is XRP or any other coin is secondary and less important than the grandpa. Okay. Grandpa is Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin determines direction. Mm-hmm. If Bitcoin's in a bear market, so is every other coin, including XRP. I don't care what anybody says. Go look at the charts. Okay. If Bitcoin's going up, so is XRP, and so are all the other good coins. So my report always focuses on which direction Bitcoin's going.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Because the other coins are irrelevant. Because unless Bitcoin's going up and you want to, see the price of your coin go up, you better hope Bitcoin's going up.
Right.
And those people out there saying that Bitcoin's going to go to zero. Come on, people. If Bitcoin goes to zero, so is everything else. Okay. Yeah. There's so much gossip out there. And what always bothered me about XRP is the moment you go to Twitter, say something negative about XRP, and man, there's people jumping on you like it's no tomorrow. They're just, the problem is you just know when that happens, there's bots everywhere. Okay. And so for whatever reason, the central banks or the people in charge of the running of this whole system have pegged the system for the love of XRP, and so they want everybody to be piling in and buying their coins secretly, because there's got to be bots out there for the amount of people that literally talk about this one. Like, come on, it's not that great of a coin. There's other coins out there, but for whatever reason, it's insanity out there if you say something negative about it.
I agree. It's always seemed different than all the rest, and that was one of the things that got my attention early on.
Yeah, that's my point, right? So why that one coin is, if you say just one negative thing about it, you get like this massive just influx of people just jumping on you, how they know better than you. It's crazy. And I don't even care. I just like to do sometimes for fun, right? But what I found out what's interesting too is, and so to take it matters further, if something doesn't feel right, like in your heart, you just know something's wrong. Every time I think about that coin XRP, I get this feeling in my heart that there's something wrong about it. And again, I have some. I'm not opposed to it, because God uses all things for his glory. So yes, we're going to see XRP move sizably up to the upside. There's some very impressive targets that are coming for it. Okay. So I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying, long term, you better watch out. Okay. There's a thing called the Trojan horse. Go to the World Economic Forum. What's the one coin? Because the World Economic Forum is what? The one world government. That's their agenda, is bring on a central bank digital currency. Their agenda is the one world government. Klaus Schwab is the most disgusting person that one of the most disgusting people that are out there, and things that he talks about, him and Yuval Harari. These people are they've sold their soul to Satan, and evil's real, and so is Jesus. And so what I want to say about it, when you go to the World Economic Forum website, what's the one coin they got?
Yeah, I pulled it up before we started here, Bo. There you go. And so that says Ripple. For those of you that don't know, Ripple is the company, and then the coin they're associated with is XRP. So you're right, and that's been my thesis all along, is that there's something weird about this coin. It's tied in with all these guys. I hate them. I hate every single one of these guys, but I want to beat them at their own game. I want to write it up with them and then dump it.
Yeah. So again, people have their own plan of whatever they want to do, but I just want people to understand, and the truth will set you free. Okay, the truth is XRP is the central bank's digital currency, specifically Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum coin of choice. If that makes you sleep great at night, fantastic. I prefer gold and silver. I prefer other cryptocurrencies that are not related anything to this. Do I have some? Yeah. I'm going to dump it. I got some targets. I'm going to dump it all at.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
and then I'm done with it, right?
Yep.
But I just want people to understand, okay, there is nothing godly about this coin.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I've seen it from the very beginning. Yep. And we love gold and silver around here too. Ultimately, that's I'd like to dump it at those targets and buy some more gold and silver and some other stuff. That's I think that would be a real good deal. So
yeah, but I want to pause you on that too, because just understand when the U.S. dollar plunges in value, okay, but it's attacked by the BRICS, which is going to happen. The cryptocurrencies will do extremely well. Gold and silver are going to do extremely well. The problem that you're going to have with silver and gold, particularly silver, is because they're precious metals, and because they're precious, they sell out. Mm-hmm. And so there's people that are saying, I'll buy. I just want to put this as a warning, and I don't know how this is going to play out because no one really knows the future, but I can give you time. I know time points into the future, but no one really knows exactly how this all plays out. But if you think about this, we know silver and gold are precious, which means they're harder to get. You have to mine them. You got to dig them up in the ground. You got to manufacture them. You got to make them into a coin or a bar. So there's steps in all of this.
Both.
So you might, yeah.
Do you know what I heard the other day? And I looked it up. It looks to be accurate. Someone told me that all of the gold that has ever been mined would only fill 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Between 2 and 4. I saw stats anywhere from 2 to 4, but either way, it's in that range somewhere.
Yeah, so it's limited, but then they can do that for a gold. Now try doing that for silver. The problem is silver is used up. So right now they're using it for solar panels, cell phones. They're using it for the Tesla, for electric batteries, the Tesla batteries, right? And so people don't understand that silver is used up because it's the number one semiconductor in the world. Mm-hmm. And so you would have a hard time to fill one Olympic-sized pool up with silver because they use it all the time. So they need to keep mining it, and it comes out of the ground roughly 10 to 1. So for every ounce of gold that is mined, you typically get 10 to 14 ounces of silver, and that's what's called an in-ground factor. That's the God ratio for gold and silver, okay? So, but understanding that God ratio for gold and silver, you should be able to, in theory, have 10 times more Olympic pools filled. Get it?
Right.
But you don't. You probably couldn't fill one because all the silver that's been mined has been used. I think it takes a couple pounds or a good chunk off. Don't quote me on this, but I know it takes some volume of silver to make a Tesla battery for a car.
Right.
Point is, silver is more precious than gold. And so people are like, well, I'm going to wait till cryptocurrencies go to X price. I'm going to unload it, and then I'm going to buy precious metals. That's a great strategy in theory. The problem is you have to ask yourself, will anybody be selling silver? Mm-hmm. Because, again, I might be wrong on this, but I would just tell you're going to have a hard time because when the dollar loses status as the world reserve currency, the de facto money in history. So let's just look in history. Every single time a money has lost its status as a currency, has lost its functionality as a currency, every single time in history, the money always de factos back to gold and silver.
Right.
Yep. Always. Okay. So if the dollar loses status of world reserve currency, we're going to de facto back to gold and silver, which means everybody's going to want it. If everybody wants something, that's a problem when something's precious. Mm-hmm. Because there's only so much of it. And so you might be able to unload. So I guess I just have people understand to sit there and play the game of I'm only going to buy cryptocurrencies right now and buy no gold and silver. Okay. You're taking a huge gamble because first up, when this event goes down, your cryptocurrencies will explode in price and so will the gold and silver. And so now you're going to have to unload the currencies to at some point buy silver. And you're going to have two problems. Number one is whatever the price is, it's going to be high. That's all I can tell you. It's going to be high. It's not going to be 20 something bucks an ounce of silver. Okay. The price will be high. And then the other thing is because it's precious, there's going to be a factor of getting it in your hand. So they might charge double of what the price is, of what the high price. They might charge a double factor on top of that just to have you have the coin in your hand. That's called a spread. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing is you're going to have an issue of you might only be able to buy maybe a small volume of coins, maybe 1, 10, 20, I don't know, whatever. But you're probably not going to be able to just call a dealer up and say, give me like 6 digits worth of silver or gold, because I just don't think there's going to be no one's going to be wanting to part with it, because it became the de facto money. So everyone's like, I'm not giving up the gold and silver.
Mm-hmm.
People say, when should I sell gold and silver? Why would you want to sell gold and silver when the dollar loses status as the world reserve currency? Get it? That's just the start of the greatest bull market in human history. That's just the start of the great wealth transfer.
Well, you've been talking to us for a long time. We've been talking gold, silver, and cryptocurrency. You have all three set for explosive moves up in the future.
It's coming. We can't stop what's coming, because it's all predicated on the collapse of the world reserve currency, the US dollar. And that is predicated by what the BRICS are about to do. And there are some really incredible time points that we can talk about in the next roughly 90 days.
Yeah.
This is going to be wild based on what I'm seeing here. We've waited so long. We've had the year 2020 hit, and now we're at a 3.5 to 4 year time point precipice that something, no matter how we look at the math, it's saying that something needs to go down, and the scriptures that fulfill the math are saying the same thing.
Well, I'll go to those pages before I get off of this one. If anybody wants to get Bo's detailed report, if you're loving what you're hearing, but you'd like to get the more detail, you go to gold2020forecast.com, and that's right up on your screen there, and you can get his newsletter, and he's going to give you that same discount there. So look for the discount code box and type in WLT49. He's going to give you 50% off, and you'll be able to get in there, and you can see all the past issues, you can see the future ones, and a lot of good stuff in there. But Bo, I talk about gold and silver all the time. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of crypto. I'm gonna walk the tightrope of XRP. I'm in the Army, and we're gonna hopefully that we. I'm gonna be relying on your newsletter to figure out when we ditch that bad boy. But I love all three of them: gold, silver, and cryptocurrency. So I'm on board with you. I'm ready to ride the ride, and we'll see where that takes us. But that's crypto. But crypto is so closely tied in just to the world events. So what I know, you've got a lot of great stuff in here. So much I want to hear about. I don't know where you want to start, but we've got this eclipse coming up. Where do you want to take us next? Tell us about some of the events coming up.
Go to the top, start at page 4, and we'll scan through a few things. So page 4 basically talks about Babylon. What I want people to know, that Ecclesiastes, that which has been will be again. I've shown this on so many podcasts, but I just want people to understand this was a prophecy from 2,500 years. It was an interpretation of a Nebuchadnezzar's dream, interpreted by Daniel. The interpretation given to Daniel was by God. God revealed the next 2,500 years. Every part of it, Persia, Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, the papacy, United States, every piece of the prophecy has been fulfilled. So someone telling me that life is random, forget about it. You're wrong. You don't understand. Nothing is random. Only thing is random is, again, do you believe in Christ Jesus or do you not? Do you not? Because ultimately he's returning, and he's the truth, the way, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by him. He's returning to earth, fulfilling scriptures and prophecies that have been written for thousands of years. And so all we have, the one random thing in our world is the free will factor of what side of the fence we're sitting on when all of this goes down.
And, there's a lot of debate out there, and we don't have to get into it here, but what is Babylon? What's Mystery Babylon? Is that New York City? And without getting into that detail, since the last time we had you on the show, we've had this huge, ridiculous fraud ruling against Trump in New York City, and New York City is just imploding because of it. You've got big names, people leaving New York for Florida, big investors saying they're no longer going to buy anything in New York City. So whether that is or isn't Mystery Babylon, it is the economic hub of this country, and it's imploding. It's self-inflicted wound.
Yeah, I'll say this about Babylon. It's rather not too complicated. I think it's in Jeremiah. Basically, it says, and she was a golden cup in the Lord's hands. So it's not New York. She is Babylon, Mystery Babylon's the harlot. Okay, the harlot started off as a virgin, beautiful, sweet, innocent, and turned into a whore. And that's what Babylon is. The point I want to make about it, she was a golden cup in the Lord's hands, and then the world became drunk with her. And so what that is saying is that the world became drunk with the US dollar. And so Babylon turned from the United States to a global syndicate. So Babylon is a worldwide controlled enterprise. It's the best, simplest example I can give you. And why? Because if you understand what we're waiting for, the statue of Daniel we talked about earlier, while you were watching, it's Daniel 2, verse 34. It says, while you were watching, a stone carved out by no human hand comes in and destroys the statue, destroys Babylon. Okay, well, in the time of Nimrod, that was the Tower of Babel. But now Babylon is a worldwide syndicate. It's very simple to comprehend, if you think about it, right? Because of the global trade, global financial system. The Babylon, by one word definition, is a control system. Okay, so when Corona hit, what did they try to do? They try to control the globe, did they not?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So Babylon is very simply a system of enslavement and control upon the world. And so to think that the United States is Babylon is not possible, because the enslavement and the control was global with Corona.
Mm-hmm. It was.
Okay. And so then you see wars, rumors of wars break out when Second Seal manifest. Again, global rioting, global wars we're seeing, with Russia, Israel now, so Ukraine. We're seeing global events. So Babylon is a global syndicate, period. And so now, with the time of Pharaoh, that was in an area of just Israel and Egypt. But now because Babylon's a worldwide syndicate, this is a departure from the worldwide enslavement control system using fiat money. And so fall in a single day, fallen is Babylon the Great. Her plagues will come in a single day. So we're going to see the BRICS attack. We're going to see the God move upon the world. It's going to be horrific, historic, what's about to go down. And so the fall of Babylon, it might have started as a virgin in New York, because that's where the United States was founded, right? But then the virgin morphed into a whore and then went global.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's the best way to describe it. But that's the bottom line. It's a worldwide syndicate that started in New York.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not looking good for New York these days.
Yeah. They're using the money system. See, what do? It's called a lawfare, right? So they're using lawfare against 45 because they need to stop him, because if he comes back to power, think about, if he comes back to power, they know, first off, he is so pissed right now what these people are doing. When he comes back to power, are they going to have the worst year of their human existence?
It's going to be wild to watch.
Oh, it's going to be, and that's what's so let's get into some of the detailed slides here, because we're stepping into March. We know we got two clocks, well, for sure, two calendars that are running right now. If we go to page 13, we are on the 26th, but we're only, if you understand the calendars, we're only in 2023 still, and we're like the 13th day of the 12th month. We're not even in 2024 yet. So we're stepping into the midnight hour, page 15. Page 15 is the midnight hour, specifically is a time when, all these deals that they've done in darkness, and they operate in darkness. They actually think that they are doing things in secret. They have secret handshakes. They do things in darkness. They have all these deals done in darkness. So they do things in darkness, thinks that no one's watching. And they're right. No man's probably watching, but God is. That's the thing that they don't grasp. They actually think they're working for God. That's their fallen angel they're worshiping, but they actually think they're doing, God's work. It's how insanely ridiculous these people are, but they've been what? Deceived by the great deceiver. You see, and that's the problem. They've been deceived by the great deceiver. They think the deals done in darkness no one sees, the secret handshakes, the secret deals, the secret monies that are being exchanged, all these deals, they think that no one sees, and they're in control, but God sees it all. And so when God intervenes, the midnight hour specifically is when the spotlight comes in and just exposes all the deals. Mm-hmm. And so we're stepping into that as March begins. So next slide. We're March, April, May. These things are going to be exposed, and so we're stepping into what's called. God reveals to me the mnemonic, the word bravo. But all those things are going to happen. The last piece of it is called open heaven, and specifically, what an open heaven is God opens a door that no man can shut. But specifically, the other coin to that is He closes the door on Babylon, and no man can open it. So all of the things they're doing with price manipulation of creating money out of thin air, manipulating the price of gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, just all the price manipulations, all the fraud, all the things they're doing, they do that because they have computer programs that can run all this stuff. But when God closes that door on them, that starts the greatest bull market in human history. And no matter what they do, they can't open that door again. And so they lose control of the markets.
Mm-hmm.
You need to understand that when God closes the door on Babylon, they lose control of their markets.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, this absolutely. The long time coming. And so when we look at the next slide, page 17, that takes us into March. There's so many things that I've pointed out in March that rather than getting into all the details, but basically the middle of March would be technically the start of the new year based on the Advent or the Julian calendar. So about the 14th would be the start of the new year.
Well, and just real simply, that's what you were talking about with tacking on the leap year. They tack that on to the end of February because that's when they view the end of the calendar, and then March 1 is the new year.
Right. So God's calendar tacks it on the 13th. They're tacking it on the 29th of February. Right. And so the Advent calendar tacks on the extra day on the 13th of March, Gregorian. See, it's a last blue, and then it flips. It says 29.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Wednesday, the 29th, or specifically the 13th of March, Gregorian. That takes you to the first day of the year, Julian calendar, the 14th of January. Now that's interesting because if that truly is the start of the year, then you have to go to Exodus. You read Exodus 12, and that's when you start counting. This is crazy. You start counting because on the 10th day. So you start counting on the 10th day, which would be the 23rd. You slaughter your lamb and you paint your doorposts on the 14th day, 14th Nisan, which is an incredible day in history when you study the Bible. And so that moves Passover from April to March.
Mm-hmm.
Again, so God hasn't revealed all of this because he won't reveal it to anybody, but I do know the calculations he showed me. So I ran the Advent calendar. So the Advent calendar indicates, people say, oh, Passover's in April. I agree with you on the Hebrew calendar. Yes, you're right. But on the Advent calendar, Julian calendar, Passover would be in March.
But you got a lot on that calendar, a lot of red and a lot of big dates.
Yeah, and so like on the 20th, you have the winter, you have the solstice, not the solstice, the spring. Spring starts. Yeah, so we spring into spring. You don't have a birth of a new era in the dead of winter. You would only make sense that the era would be birthed in spring.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Kent Christmas prophecy, which is incredible. That prophecy stated, and he said on the 19th, everybody thought it was because God said in the next 7 days. I'm going to bring a mortal wound upon the enemy that they won't be able to recover from. And now he said that last year, but God never said in the next 7 days in the year 2023. No, he just said in the next 7 days relative to the date of the 19th of March. Get it? So it could be any year. And then we got a blood moon on the 25th. You got 23rd into the 24th is Purim. The Haman effect, right? So Purim, and then the day before that is Skull and Bones 322. So these people are going to attack. The only option they have to is when the truth comes out, they're going to cause war in the month of March. That's what I believe is going to happen. That's their god of war. Mm-hmm. I believe it's probably high probability they're going to shut down the internet. They're going to shut down the TV broadcast. They're going to shut down everything because they can't let the truth come out.
Well, and I wonder if we saw a little sneak preview of that, maybe a little predictive programming, maybe a little test run last Thursday when all the cell phone networks went down. That seemed awfully fishy to me.
Sure, absolutely. We who knows what the truth is behind all this stuff? You'll never know the truth, but all we can do is look back at history. And then right now, I just look at the month of March, going, you can just keep scratching your head, going, all the possibilities of things happening in the month of March is wild, just wild. Then top that off with, if you read scriptures, there was 3 days of 3 days of darkness upon Pharaoh. I think one of the last plagues, and then the very last plague of the Pharaoh was the angel of death.
Right.
We've got 4 prophets on this earth that have stated the angel of death is on the earth. So is it the angel of death that strikes relative to the Kent Christmas prophecy? I'm just telling you, this is wild what's about to happen. Because why? Because when the angel of death showed up that night, the angel of death showed up the next morning, Israel was freed from bondage. So what do we're in a jubilee. A jubilee is a freedom from bondage. We're at 50 years. This is something wild is about to go off. So we've got their skull and bones. You got God stating that in the next 7 days in the month of March, he's going to bring a mortal wound upon the enemy. 4 prophets have stated the angel of death is on the earth. Well, before the angel of death, after the angel of death appeared, Israel was freed from bondage, and that started the wealth transfer. They were paid. They plundered Egypt, and they were paid for 400 years of labor. Mm-hmm. So what are we stepping into? The great wealth transfer. And it starts with the angel of death. Oh, come on. The angel of death's going to show up? Yes. Based on the word of God through 4 credible prophets.
Mm-hmm. Right.
These are biblical times. Like I said, these are not political times. They are biblical times. And we get to watch all this go down. And Daniel 2 verse 34, while you were watching, a stone carved out by no human hand comes and takes down Babylon. You got Purim, page 20 and 21. You got Purim, okay? You got Purim. You got, like, what are the chances? Yeah, so I'm sure, I can guarantee you Trump meets Melania, picks a wedding date, and then counts forward 7,000 days to make sure it lands on Purim. Yeah, I guarantee you that happened, right?
Yeah, that's pretty strange.
Yeah, see, that's called by design, right? So God's involved in all of this. You got blood moons, 3 blood moons in a row, starting this 25th. So all of this is crazy how this is all playing out perfectly. And not even, it's just mathematical perfection, how this is all coming together. And that takes us into the next slide here. You have Lazarus, okay? Well, Lazarus, if you go even watch The Chosen, you can read the scriptures or go watch The Chosen right now in the theaters, which is pretty fantastic. You see that Lazarus was having Hanukkah celebrations with Jesus at Hanukkah, and then shortly while after, Lazarus dies. And so if you understand scriptures, Jesus Christ raised Lazarus from the dead before Purim. Mm-hmm. Let that sink in, and then go back to what we just said about March. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. God will not reveal his strategy, but the math is just wild for March, starting March, and then into April, and then May. And so they will highly shut down the internet. They're going to highly shut down the TVs and all broadcasting. Why? Because they can't let the truth come out of when God shines a spotlight on their deals in darkness. So there's a mortal wound is coming to these people. So is it March, April, or May? I would say March or April, everything goes black. I would, high probability for March or latest April, we're going to see everything go dark. It's my best guess right now. Next slide is, the kings of the earth weep and wail. That's coming. This is their fall of Babylon, the worldwide syndicate, not the New York. This is not the fall of the United States. It's the fall of Mystery Babylon, global worldwide syndicate that goes global. And then look at Rothschild. Remember, this ties in with what you said about the Rothschilds, right? Who just passed was the Rothschilds,
Jacob. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So just the point to understand about that, right? Worldwide syndicate going all the way back to London. It's the money, follow the money. It's all about use and control of money to enslave and control humanity. We talked. Next slide on 24, we've got Passover. I said the 15th of Nisan, right? So the 15th of Nisan could be based on the Julian calendar, the 15th of Nisan would be in March. Based on the Hebrew calendar, the 15th of Nisan would be in April. But regardless whether it's March or April, we're all going to find out together. That's the day Jesus was crucified. That's the day Isaac was tricked to bless Jacob. That's the day Gideon's army of 300 was assembled. That's the day the angel killed 185 Assyrian soldiers. That's the day Haman came to the king to convince him to wipe out the Jewish nation. That's the day that Daniel was thrown in the lion's den. That's the day that Belshazzar drank from the golden vessels, and he died that night. His kingdom came to an end. The writing on the wall. Mene, mene, tekel, upharsin. Your kingdom has come to be an end and will be given to the Medes and the Persians. So I'm just telling you, that God says, woe, woe to now ye rich men, weep and howl for the miseries that are about to come upon you.
Well, there we go.
So 2025 shoots us into the next slide here in April. And so again, March, April, wild. And then we talk about, then the last slide, where we're going to recover here is because in April, you'll see on the 8th right there, the U.S. eclipse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that eclipse is crazy. You've got a picture of it right there. We knew about this all the way back in 2017. People were talking about it, how there would be one in 2017 and then another one 7 years later. And here we are 7 years later. They form some people will say they form an X across the United States. Can also look just like a cross across the United States.
Yeah.
And then, the crazy story is they call it the path of the path of the totality of the eclipse. You've got that covered in your map. You can see it from everywhere, but that's like the main path of it. And that path crosses 7 U.S. cities and 1 Canada city named Nineveh. And as if that's crazy enough, there are only 7 U.S. cities named Nineveh. So it hits all 7 of them. I mean, just wild stuff.
So I'll say this about that. It's very simple understanding. God's in the details. Just like, when the Super Bowl, they won with 3 seconds left. It was their 3rd victory for the Chiefs. They threw the ball from the 3-yard line. The guy that missed it on the 49ers was number 33. And the guy that caught it was the number 12, completion, right? 12 months of the year. So it was completion. What I'm trying to show is if you look, God is in the details. So no different than what you just described with Nineveh. God's showing himself in the details.
Well, and then
he's showing him, and so we're not in political times; we're in biblical times. The people, the scare factor people, are going to say, "Oh, there's an X across the United States. God's going to bring judgment on the United States." Yeah, good luck with that. Okay, good luck with God bringing judgment on the United States. Okay, we're a nation founded under God. We have a covenant with the United States. God is not going to bring judgment on the United States, but what He is going to do is He's going to bring vengeance. Okay, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And then when you bring vengeance, guess what comes with that? Chastisement. So the United States will be chastised for turning away from God for 50 years, for turning away from His money for 50 years. God's going to chastise the United States. Okay, but ultimately this leads to something fantastic, because what God's going to bring upon the world is victory for the United States. The United States will be an incredible place to live, because evil is going to flee the United States. And people are like, "Oh my gosh, it's an eclipse coming on the 8th. Something horrible is going to happen." I will probably, my best guess, going on record right here, I'll just say nothing's going to happen on the 8th of April.
Okay, good, because I've had people ask me to make sure I ask you about that. Do you see something happening on that date? So there you go, everybody. We've got it straight from Bo himself. Again,
and that would be my best guess, and this is why I would say that, okay? It's a marker. See, what we're looking at is markers in time. So another great example would be the Revelation 12 sign that happened in September of 2017, the same year the eclipse hit, right? So nothing happened on the September, whatever the day was, in 2017, but the Revelation 12 sign still happened. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
So it happened. Revelation 12 sign happened. And if you look at it this way as a marker, see, because God uses those things as markers. And then you got to read scripture, because it's not so simple. Oh, that's the day there's something going to happen. No, you have to it's because those who are wise will have understanding. And so with the understanding that I can lay from 2017, the Revelation 12 sign, which is the same as the eclipse, what you want to do is you want to count, because it says you are to work for 6 years and rest on the 7th. So 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23. So there is your completion. There is your completion right there of 7 years. And if you count from 17.4, you can go to 2024. What I'm showing is your 7 years is from 2017 to 2023, 2024.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay. And so what I'm saying is we're about to see something happen in 2023 as it ends and into 2024. And so from what I would say is this, from the cross on April 8th of 2024, I would count forward 6 months, October. I would count forward 7 months, November. Interesting what's going on in November. What I want to show you is you use that as a marker in time for what God's about to do. But basically, it's a cross of salvation for the United States. This is not cross of destruction. It's a cross of salvation for the United States. God the Father, Son Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit are about to bring salvation to the United States. And we're stepping into a time of bravo. Which is blessings, revival, awakening, vindication, and open heavens. That is what we're stepping into for the United States. We are not stepping into judgment. Those that bring judgment, that's fear porn, and that's of the devil. Because God comes to give us life more abundantly. Evil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And that is the truth. So this is going to be an awesome year. Expect shaking. The United States is gonna shake. Oh yes, it will. Because again, when God moves, God needs to shake people awake because people are sleeping. You know, Noah, you do podcasts, I do podcasts. We try to wake people up, but you leave the house, go for a walk and have a conversation with people about stuff that you post on your website. No one's going to listen. Why? Because 95% of the world's asleep. They believe what the media tells them. And so God has to intervene on this world. We have the Bob Jones prophecy be fulfilled. We're going to see the greatest shaking in human history on this world. God's going to shake people awake. And by shaking people awake, they're going to be awakened to the truth, which then leads the Bob Jones prophecy leads to the billion soul harvest. So what's coming is the great awakening. What's coming is the open heavens. God's going to change the world as we know it. Evil falls, evil flees, and we step into a window of divine favor. Kim Clement said, You have been deceived, America, by haters of America. You have been deceived from within. You've been deceived for 7 years. Do the math. Mm-hmm. Math is here.
Well, that I think is a tremendous way to sum it up. A lot of great news ahead. Some bumpy times, but ultimately good news. And Bo, we jumped all around in this one. It was a lot of fun, and we kind of started at the end and worked our way back to the beginning. So the only logical place to end is with your QR code. If people want to get this presentation, it's on page 3 here. Shoot your phone at the screen, and you can scan that QR code. You can download Bo's slides for free. I would recommend you want to do that. I'll put the link below the video as well. A lot of calendars and dates in here. We talked about it. I had them up on the screen, but we went by pretty fast on those. So go ahead and download this, and you can study those. We got a couple big weeks coming up. March, April, May are the big ones. If I had to summarize what I'm hearing, gold, silver, and cryptocurrency, expect some big moves up, but then some big volatility. But ultimately, big explosions in all 3 of those. I've been talking about gold and silver for a long time. I love those. I love crypto. So love the updates on those. I always like to give you the last word, but man, you came in with a lot of info today, a lot of good stuff. We have 3 huge months coming up, but really March and April just absolutely loaded. What do you want to leave us with?
You can't stop what's coming. You can only be prepared for what's going to happen. The Bible is all about prepare. The Bible is the good news. Actually, I've got a book coming out. People have been asking me forever, can you put it all the pieces together? So I've been working on that with a publicist. That should be coming out in late March, possibly April, early April. The point I'm trying to make is all of this that we're watching is by design. God wrote the end from the beginning. So if you understand that the Bible is true, his word is true, God cannot lie. He doesn't lie. And before he does anything, he reveals his secrets to his servants. So I'm trying to show the world of what's coming. You can't stop it. You can only be prepared for what's coming. Those that are awake, I God bless you. Those that aren't awake, I truly hope that you go and listen. Share this podcast with people who aren't awake. Share this podcast with people who are sitting on the fence. But share this podcast with people who, just want to know why all this is going on in the world. The answer is because it's not random. It's by design. All of these things going on in the world are not political. They're biblical. And so God's in complete control. You can only be prepared for what's coming because you can't stop it. So God bless everybody, and thank you for being here.
That's perfect, Bo. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you back here in March.